Today on the Locked On Arizona Cardinals squad show, are the Cardinals actually talented enough to make the playoffs? What position groups could derail the season for the worst? And as well as what position group could potentially skyrocket this season into a different atmosphere? Let's go.
Rise up, Red Sea. It's the Cardinals squad. Sponsored by Game Time. Everything Arizona Cardinals every week. Covering all the big hits and game-changing plays from the Valley of the Sun. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Gear up and squad up. The Cardinals Squad Show starts now.
Welcome back into the Locked On Cardinals squad show. I'm Benjamin Garcia, a credentialed media member out here in Phoenix, Arizona. Also a host of the Ben Garcia Show mornings on YouTube. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals squad show your first listen here on this beautiful Thursday. Don't forget, Locked On Cardinals squad show is free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. So click that follow and subscribe button to do what thousands of other Cardinals fans have already done. Become an everydayer and get locked on to the Cardinals squad show each and every day. Join me today for your regularly scheduled Arizona Cardinals Locked On podcast duties, my guy Alex Clancy, and as well as former ASU football alum, former NFL offensive lineman, and Super Bowl champion Jamil Douglas. What's up, fellas? How are we doing? That made me sound a little bit more excited this time when I say hello to you guys.
That was a good intro.
I completely forgot the show was going to happen. I'm sorry.
Well, hey, let's get the show on the road. Cardinals training camp is like weirdly close to being upon us. I think it said the other day was like 50 days away from opening day, which is kickoff in the NFL. So let's get started. It is list season. It continues to be not only at ESPN, Fox Sports, Bleacher Report, but here on the Cardinals squad show. And the Cardinals, and ESPN has just basically finished releasing all their position rankings, and for linebackers, wide receivers, running back, quarterback, wide receivers, corners, all of it and more. Maybe even said it twice there. The Cardinals only have two players on any of those lists. One at the safety position in Budda Baker, and he ain't in the top 5, and Trey McBride at the tight end position at number 5. So here's my thing. Is we all talked about how much better this roster is a year ago than it is today. And Clancy has sung the praise. I think Jamil has also sung the praise when it comes to this Cardinals revamped roster. But are we overstating it just a little bit when we see executives, coaches, and scouts say, yeah, we're not so sure. We only got 2 guys ranked in any of the high rankings in position rankings. Clancy, I'll start with you today, man.
No. For me, if I'm so obsessed with the floor of this team and not the ceiling, and so I don't really care about the tip top. I more care about what the floor is. And when you look at like across the board, this team has gotten exponentially better. Okay. I don't care that there's no all pros. The Cardinals are an active volcano now. They were extinct 2 years ago. So, this doesn't bother me. James Conner gets no run, but there's so many good young running backs in the league that it's insane. No, I'm glad that Budda Baker gets his flowers. I'm glad that Trey McBride is still undervalued at 5. Name 4 better tight ends than him. Why is Sam Laporta getting run? I don't understand it. I don't get it. You're muted. Sucks, doesn't it?
I think it's clear. I think it's clear. You're not paying attention to the Arizona Cardinals, especially at the tight end position. That is crazy. I think even more so, the safety position feels a little in shambles when it comes to that ranking as well. I would have to pull up exactly who it was in front of them, but I know Budda Baker wasn't in the top 5. That feels atrocious, especially a defense that when Budda Baker goes down, it just doesn't feel right. But Jamil, maybe not so much on those 2 rankings as a whole, but how do you feel about the Cardinals not getting shown a ton of love in any other department?
Look, man, I just think the list, I don't want to call it overrated, but I don't put too much into it just for the simple fact. I was looking at a list earlier when I played with the Titans in 2019, and we had 3 people on the list. Jarrell Casey, Derrick Henry, Taylor Lewan. That year was a good year for the team. just in general, it was a good year. So I'm not putting too much. I mean, you'd look at the numbers. I don't know how many, there's 1,700 guys that, are on the roster, 53 per team. Everyone's not going to have a top 100 guy on their team, but the makeup of the team, how the team plays, the schematics, that plays a big part. So I'm not putting too much into it. Obviously, you want to see more guys on the list, but in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter if, they have 2 guys, 3 guys. At least they got one, at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, I think with the floor conversation, it's like, give me 1 to 40, and if the Cardinals have a couple of those, I'd rather have that than one in the top 10. Like Budda Baker is criminally undervalued, underrated, because he had to play 7 positions ever since being drafted in 2017 because his secondary sucked every year. They had one cornerback one from when Budda Baker was drafted in 2017 to 2 years ago. Byron Murphy wasn't a CB1. Marco Wilson wasn't a C. It was a joke, and he had to do all of it. Their linebackers were terrible. Their pass rush wasn't great for years. He had to do it all. He couldn't just play free safety and do what he did last year. So if you told me Budda Baker was 3rd-team All-Pro, 2nd-team All-Pro next year, at the end of the year, I'd be like, yeah, okay, he's finally able to play just his position. So with all this stuff, dude, it's like, just because the national media just isn't different to the Cardinals, they should be. Even this year. It doesn't matter. They haven't deserved it yet. And then after this year, it's either going to work or it won't. It's either going to be the same old damn Cardinals and I'm going to have to eat a whole bunch of crow, or this is going to be the thing that changes the trajectory of a dysfunctional and crapbox organization since its inception. It's one of the two, and the national media will follow suit one way or the other.
Here's the analogy that I used when I kind of came up with this topic earlier today, which was the Cardinals, especially roster 2 years ago when JG and Steve Keim came into the fold, it was atrocious. And then you upgraded all the way from then to now, and you're like, okay, the Cardinals were driving a 1999 Ford Taurus. Now they're driving a used 2011 Ford Taurus. It seems a lot better, and it's more reliable, and it's better on gas, and it's all those things, right? But that's what I kind of look at the Cardinals roster as. Okay, wait a second. Do I need to put down the rose, colored glasses down, or the Sedona red colored glasses down and say, wait a second. Yes. Am I overvaluing this roster a little bit, where it's like, it's still a reliable roster. It's so much better than it was before. But I look at these lists and it's not done by idiots like me on the internet or, talking heads. It's done by executives, coaches, and scouts. People that clearly probably know more about football than I do. That's my only worry about it. Jamil, you're kind of agreeing with me. I'll let you kind of take that there.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you from a standpoint of, you got to take those rose-colored glasses off and look at it for what it is. Like, they've done a lot of upgrading to the roster, address some needs as far as, the front and what they may need this upcoming season to play a little more physical. I think they've done a good job with that, but everything is just on paper now until we see them perform, this preseason and then during the season. So I'm not too worried about the list. They've got the potential to have 5 or 6 or 7 guys on this list after this season, but we just got to see how they come out and play and then go from there. I just think it's too early to kind of get bent out of shape over the 2 guys on the list.
Do you guys feel like there's anyone on the Cardinals roster being left off of any of these lists as a whole? Because I have a name in mind, and I guess I'll just say it for an example. James Conner's the only other player on this list that appears in any of these articles, and he's not mentioned as a top 10 running back.
You love James Conner. You love you some James Conner.
He's mentioned. He's an honorable mention. I understand he's older. He didn't get his pump and flash. He was a later round pick. But I look at that and I see that as clear you're not watching the Cardinals, because I don't think there are 10 running backs right now better than James Conner. I'll buy there's 7. I'll buy there's 8. I'm not buying 10. I know that's a little out of the ordinary and kind of a left field question, but do you guys feel like there's someone who might have been left off this list that you're like, how did he not make it? I mean, Garrett Williams didn't make the cornerback list. And it's like, Garrett Williams is the number 1 ranked zone coverage cornerback in PFF. I would like the guy to get an honorable mention. Is there someone else out there? Is there anything you guys want to add on to that?
I mean, I think as far as corners, like, people respect corners and I'm not saying he doesn't get respect, but people typically put the corners that played man-to-man on a higher pedestal as opposed to the zone cornerbacks. As far as James Conner goes, James Conner is a great back. I don't know that James Conner is – I love the style of play in which he plays in, but he's not overwhelmingly setting himself apart when we think about, the backs in terms of Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley. I would even put like a healthy Kyron Williams up there, as dynamic as he is. I just think that James Conner is a good back. He's a good back. I don't know if he's top 100 back. I don't know. I'm saying top 100 overall. Top 10, I don't know.
It's very simple to me. He makes it look easy, so it's not appreciated. Like, we talk a lot, and we're not going to do this, Ben, of Locked On Suns, but we're not going to do this. But Kevin Durant has made it always look easy on the court, so he kind of gets undervalued for what he's done and how great he's been. He's just a bucket. He may be the best scorer that we've seen in the last 20 years, pure one. Carmelo, whatever it is, he just makes it look easy, and that's a detriment to him. I think the same could go for James Conner. I see James Conner as the new age LeGarrette Blount, the new version of LeGarrette Blount, the pass catching, things like that. It's between the tackles. It's off tackle. He's going to eat your lunch. He's going to laugh at you when he goes, but he doesn't do anything special. He just gets in the end zone more than other people do, and he's very efficient and he's quiet. And, he's not Jahmyr Gibbs. He's not Bijan Robinson. He's not Saquon, even though Saquon will kill you and smile as he runs away. But Saquon does both. Saquon can hurdle over people. James Conner just runs. And I swear to God, he's 6'3". James Conner has to be 6'3". There's no way he's 6 feet. When he stands in the backfield, even though Kyler Murray's 5'10", the dude looks 6'3". Anyways, it's boring. The way he runs and plays is boring, and that doesn't translate to list season.
That's what it is. It doesn't.
Right? Would you agree with that, Ben? This is Drew Petzing's perfect dictionary definition of a running back. Ho-hum, 4.5 yards to carry, 12 touchdowns. That's kind of what it is.
That's right.
Oh, sorry. I thought Jamil was going to say something there. Okay, let me ask you this as a final question, then we can move on to more of the offensive side of the stuff. As a whole, this whole team, like, let's say the Cardinals make the playoffs next year, right? How do I frame it like this? It's more of like, how many players will be on this list next year for a team that needs to be a playoff team? Not that it really matters in terms of like list season, but it's like, it's a good thought exercise. Like, is Kyler top 10 next year? Is Connor firmly in the top 10? Is Garrett Williams peaking? Is Budda Baker still there? Is, Trey McBride moving up the list? Like, I would be curious to see if we have 2 this year, how many likely be on it next year? And that will tell us how big the strides need to be this year to make the playoffs.
I think it's a 2-year thing. Like, there's no way Marvin's going to be in the top 10 next year. No shot. There's no way that
Malik Neighbors was just in Malik Neighbors one season's this number 6.
Yeah, you know what? And I'm really happy you brought that up.
Number 6 overall.
Yeah.
What I've said about Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr., they were drafted to save the position group. Marvin Harrison Jr. was not. You put Marv there with a crap box offense and Tyrone Tracy, you're down 25 points a game. Yeah, you're going to get a whole lot of looks. The Malik Neighbors thing is such a joke. I see it as the Jaden Daniels thing. Do it again. The only one that I would submit is probably Garrett Williams. Like, there aren't dudes that the Cardinals have who are absolutely elite. They don't have to be. Like, I just don't see it. Like, instead of having T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, I'd rather have 3 top 40 dudes instead of 2 top 12 dudes and nothing else.
That is a statement.
For wide receiver, well, but the other thing to look at is, like, this is a Trey McBride-led pass catching group. Yeah. So it's different. You got to talk about it in Chief terms, not Bengals terms. But I don't know.
I think the only person that we need to see on the list that will tell us whether or not the Cardinals go to the playoffs is the guy throwing the football, and it's right. Kyler Murray.
That's right.
If he's not on the list, we know what kind of season the Cardinals had. Similar season as last year. If he's on the list, we know that they made some noise. They were competitive and they played in a lot of big games, and he played well. And I think that is the biggest name that we have to see on the list after this season.
That's right.
Well, like it or not, we're going to have to continue talking about that quarterback position offensively, and it's going to keep on being the topic of discussion until the regular season begins, and even maybe then some more. Let's talk about the Cardinals offense. What exactly do we need to see to have this Cardinals offense with all this potential and all these players to just break out this year and be an offense to reckon with? Let's talk about that next. First, today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the very best way to make the game even more exciting. You've already been following the action. Why not make it a little bit more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburnt at the beach. But hey, I mean, listen, you can technically do it while you're at the beach. It's not like you can't do it there. My FanDuel sportsbook lines are not loading, but however, I know there's not a lot of sports going on right now, but what I would probably start to sprinkle a little bit of money on is the Diamondbacks potentially making a little bit of run in the second half. Listen, there's a lot of concerns about potentially players getting traded. Suarez, Gowan, Kelly. The Diamondbacks might feel a little bit of a hot seat under them to start to get things underway and figured out. So if it was me, that's maybe where I would start to spread a little of the action on maybe the Diamondbacks answer to the pressure and help you win some money. New to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today and visit FanDuel.com to get started. Moving the show along, we talked a little bit about the quarterback play. We talked about how Kyler Murray, he's the straw that's going to stir the drink and potentially get this team to the playoffs. But, I want to start off with Clancy here because he mentioned a little bit earlier in his show that he did on his own with Locked On Cardinals, how the Cardinals become an unlocked offense. How it's not just Kyler, but how you can unlock guys like Greg Dortch, players like Elijah Higgins, and how that helps guys like Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride. Alex, take it away. Or I guess I should say Clancy. I know you don't like to be called Alex, but Clancy, take it away here. How do the Cardinals unlock this offense, not from just a Kyler perspective, but for everyone involved?
I mean, it seems like it's going backwards, but I love Greg Dortch. Like, I don't understand why there's not a spot. I don't understand why the only dude with his skill set isn't getting more run. Michael Wilson, I get. He's wide receiver. He's set to be wide receiver 2, pass catcher 3, because Trey McBride to me is wide receiver 1, even though he doesn't play wide receiver. He's pass catcher number 1. Greg Dortch is the only dude that can change the landscape of an offensive scheme and make opposing defenses fall on their heels a little bit, outside of Kyler Murray. Him, Trey Benson. We saw the scoop. We saw the juice the second half of the season when they gave him some run early in games and not just after halftime. It's about the floor again. That's the theme. And to raise everything, you have to be able to keep opposing defenses honest, not just how do you get Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr. the ball more. I'd much rather see more Trey Benson, more Greg Dortch, more Elijah Higgins, who is a wide receiver that converted into tight end. He's a pass-catching dude, to be able to rise the floor up and then, give Trey more one-on-one, give Marv less bracketed coverage. And then when everybody's looking one way and everything's humming, you got Kyler Murray tucking it and housing it from 40. Like, that's the unlocking that needs to happen for the offense, for the run game and the pass game to be in synchronicity, is using all of your weapons and not just hammering home the top heavy ones. That's the only thing they haven't done. That's literally the only thing they haven't tried. And they've got the skill position dudes to do it. I think, at least.
Jamil?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I also think from a standpoint of when I watch the Cardinals, I want to see what their identity is. I talked about this a little last week. Like, what are you guys, what is the OC going to kind of dial up as everything that they can fall back on if nothing's working? Is it, okay, we want to use RPOs more to get, advantageous looks with Kyler and take advantage of our 2 running backs? Like, I want to see running back by committee with Trey Benson and James Conner. I think that's a good mix of different skill traits that keeps the defense honest. I just need to see identity, man. I think it all falls on, like, what are they going to be? Are we going to see, do you want to go up tempo, keep defenses on the field, and play to that advantage? can you spread the ball with the receivers that you have? Just give me something that we know what the play style is as far as offense. I think that from a player standpoint simplifies what we're going to be as a group, and it allows you to just play faster from that standpoint.
You know, I've been thinking about this for a little bit now. The running back position is so important for this team. You know, when you talk about the bread and butter, Jamil, or Clancy talking about kind of like the guys, the unsung heroes of this team having to perform, I kind of want to grab a little bit from both of that. One of the biggest issues from the Cardinals last year that I think everyone just kind of pushes under the rug because it's kind of easy to forget is the fact when James Conner went down in that Carolina Panthers game, they had trouble moving the football. He came out in the Rams game, they had trouble scoring points because he pretty much immediately left. The San Francisco 49ers game, I don't put a ton of stock in because, again, there wasn't really any implications to that game. Both teams were out of the playoffs. The Cardinals cannot be so James Conner reliant. And that's where I kind of take the point of Clancy a little bit. There has to be, and this is why I advocated for a Cam Scatterboot, because last year when I was at training camp, I watched I watched a decent amount of Trey Benson, and he looked lost at the beginning. But I will say, towards the end of the year, he sort of turned it on a little bit. This team cannot be so James Conner reliant, and Trey Benson, like if we're talking X factors, I think needs to be the guy that gets more workload, takes a bit off of James Conner so he doesn't get as injured, and is a change of pace back, catch the ball in the backfield too. Because if James Conner goes down, we cannot have the same problem in week 8, struggling to move the football because Drew Petzing is so scared to throw the ball downfield or doesn't trust his quarterback or whatever it is. If you're going to lean on the run game, lean on the run game. And I think Trey Benson plays a big role in that. So
with that,
no, go Clancy, go.
No, that's right. I mean, that's ever since 2021. It was like, oh, Cliff Kingsbury, just give the ball to James Conner. One game last year, he touched the ball 9 straight times. I think it might have been week 1 in Buffalo, or it was either that or on the road.
I think it was the Bears game. I think it was the Bears game where they just ran halfback dive up the middle every.
Yeah,
I think that might have been it.
So for me, because I agree, there's 2 old adages that I use. One, just because a player goes to a college in the same state doesn't mean the team has to draft him. Like, who cares? Like, give me a break. Like it doesn't matter. We're not at Disneyland, bro.
But there is a problem. There is a problem when the team in the state does not draft a single guy from that school in years. I don't remember the last time.
I don't want to talk about the products, baby, but I mean,
hey,
I think it was the
was it
Eno
Pat
Benjamin.
Tillman? Was it?
I think it was Eno Benjamin.
Was Eno Benjamin drafted?
He was a
there?
7th rounder.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyways, that was the joking one. This is the serious one. So I have this theory, and it lends to basketball more, but it'll make sense. Not everybody can be a Jamal Crawford or Lou Williams. Not everybody can sit on the pine after warming up for 20 minutes, come in and just be a bucket. Okay, not everybody can do that. You can't be a 6th man. Trey Benson and everybody else who made it at the NFL level has always started, always. They've always warmed up. They've always ripped off their proverbial warm-ups and gone into the game, especially for a running back in a new system that needs to get the juices flowing. The fact that he sits for an hour before touching the ball after halftime, that's not conducive. I agree with you that Trey Benson needs to get in, but for me, I give him all the second team reps. I'm making Amari DiMercato take it from him. You need not just James Conner and everybody else. You need James Conner and somebody else. One. Whether that's Trey Benson, whether that's Amari DiMercato, it doesn't matter. It's got to be one because you got to have a 1 and you got to have a 1A. So I agree with you. If James Conner goes down, it's got to be one dude and then everybody else. And I think that's where the Cardinals have strayed because they're giving everybody touches at any random time and it doesn't really have any sort of balance. So, I mean, I agree with you. And that's why Trey Benson's so important. If he can do it, he can be the second coming. And that's what the Cardinals need if something were to happen. In correlation with an offensive line group too. Like you got to have synchronicity with another dude that's not just the starter.
Yeah.
I think the other thing as well that is so big, and it always comes back to the quarterback. Everyone blames Petzing, and then there's the people that blame Kyler Murray. Like it really is split down the middle. I think it is a working relationship where he's got to trust his quarterback more. We cannot have a year again, Clancy, and Jamil as well, is where like we're dealing with a dink and dunk, bootleg, crossers over the middle with to Trey McBride, hoping he hurdles a guy and goes 10 yards. This needs to be less of a BB gun offense. And if we're going to be a run first team, that's fine. But can you play off the run? And it's so successful. A little bit of play action and throw the ball downfield. Put Marvin Harrison Jr. out in space. It doesn't feel like Drew Petzing trusts Kyler Murray all the way. And I think that is that is going to catch up to you at some point, whether it's in the playoffs or in the regular season. I'm asking Kyler to make 2 or 3 throws a game to help win the game. I'm not asking for 8 or 9 like Josh and Lamar and Pat Mahomes can do easily with their eyes closed. Last year, it was just too much dink and dunk, and that goes into the James Conner thing where when teams know they can take away the run game because Conner gets injured, then they know, okay, we're just going to put 9, 8 in the box, put guys on an island because we know you're not going to throw it. The dynamic has to change offensively, man.
Yeah, I agree. And I think you have the tools to scare a defense. You have the tight end that can, take the top off or run against these linebackers and get open or beat a safety. You have a running back that can get you 4 or 5 yards, maybe boring, but he can get you 4 or 5 yards if you need it. You also have a quarterback that can make things happen and scare these defensive linemen as far as getting out of their gaps. So it's just about being creative, man. I want to see the OC. I want to see Drew Petzing just get more creative with the offense, maybe a little more motion, a little more misdirection, things that we see with the Rams kind of creating the mismatches on the fly. You have the guys to do that. And then Marvin Harrison Jr., this is the year where, he's got to make those big plays. You got to kind of feed the guy the ball and just see if he comes to life from having that kind of, mentality. But I just want to see a little more creativity with the offense and a little more of an identity to just get over that hump.
What did you guys do, Jamil, you played with really good quarterbacks, you played with guys who are seen as middle of the road quarterbacks, with the middle of the road guys or dudes who perceived as like not the elite dudes, what do you do offensively to like get a spark, make things a little bit more creative? Or can you not? If you don't have one of those elite level quarterbacks, is it just extremely difficult to make it look a little less just meat and potatoes and a little bit more fluidity to the offense?
Yeah, it can be difficult, but again, the game before the ball is snapped, the motions will tell you everything. If you can get, your guys in motion and get the defense moving and communicating before the ball is snapped, you're almost putting yourself at an advantage because now they have to talk and figure out the new formation while the ball is about to be snapped. So that's what I said. Get creative. You have a veteran quarterback who understands the offense. You have a tight end who's good, a receiver who's good, a back who understands the offense. Get creative and start moving these guys around a little bit. See if you can create that confusion around the defense. And then next thing you know, that's 1 or 2 big plays that you're just stealing a game that is just off pure communication. So that's what I would say. Just a little more motions, a little more, you don't have to do trick plays, but just get creative with the guys, move them around a little bit.
See, this is, and we talked about this a little bit, like the dink and dunk stuff. I think this is a year, like the true unlocking thing. I know that sounds cheesy, but like when Trey McBride plays backyard football, runs 7 yards, turns around and falls into the first down, I can guarantee 30 to 40% of those plays, there's somebody where you can get 20. They take the easy one for the sticks, especially on, early downs. If it's 2nd and 7 and you can take a shot in the middle of the field to Marv down the sideline or Michael Wilson or whoever it is, or Greg Dortch leaking out, whatever it does into space, it's like there's only a couple plays a game that you can maximize and potentially house it. And just because there's a first down open doesn't mean that's the right throw. And I don't know if that's Kyler Murray. I don't know if that's Drew Petzing. Whatever it is, that's the graduation that Kyler Murray and Drew Petzing need to get to this year. Because a first down is great, but a touchdown on potentially broken play on the other side of the field, that's how you win games. That's how you win championships. And I'm not saying that's what they're there for, but like it's like they're only playing with 70% of the field that everybody else is playing with.
Yeah, man. This is where I want to set up again the NFL side question for Jamil is like, The one thing I fear about Drew Petzing is, and someone mentioned in the chat right here, is like, what's odd is my guy Steve here in the chat was like, what's odd is that it felt like Petzing's play calling was spot on 2023. I agree with that. It's almost like, oh, if this is just the beginning, it's going to evolve in something more in 2024, and it never did. It plateaued. Was two-part question. Is there one, a fear, Jamil, that maybe this is who he is? And two, did you ever have an offensive coordinator where you felt like they were being too conservative and they finally did, like, burst out of their shell and was a little bit guns a-blazing? Because I worry a bit that this is just who Petzing is, and it's going to be, nope, we're going to run the ball, and we're going to do this, and this is how this is how we're going to win games. And if it doesn't, then it's someone else's fault.
Yeah, I'll say this: Arthur Smith, my years in Tennessee, he was somebody who, at first, when his first year, you could tell he was a little hesitant to kind of open up the playbook. When Ryan Tannehill came into the game after Marcus Mariota was benched, Arthur just basically said, hey, I remember my first time drinking water as well. Arthur was like, listen, I'm going to let it rip. Like, what do we got to lose? We're 2-4. You good? You good over there?
For the audio audience.
To have a child.
For the audio audience.
Struggling with that? We got trouble in River City, baby.
Jeez, I tried to ignore it, but dang.
For the audio audience, I just spilled water all over me, and it's not even like it's gonna go away. It's gonna take 10 minutes for this to dry. I'm just gonna wear it. Jamil, I'm sorry. Could you continue with your Arthur Smith stuff? Because it was funny, but this is bad. This is bad.
No, it's crazy. Hey, it's all good. But yeah, Arthur Smith was somebody that, at first you kind of thought, is this where the offense was going to stay? And then, like I said, as he gained that trust in Ryan Tannehill, you saw different variations of the offense from week to week just come out, and it made it so difficult. I mean, teams knew we were handing the ball to Derrick Henry, but the variation of the play just happened different every single time, whether it was a wide receiver coming in motion to create different leverage or a tight end being split out to get a linebacker out the box. Like, it was just different. And so I think sometimes offensive coordinators lose their creativity in a sense of, like, they just want to score points sometimes. Like, they're just like, all right, let's get back to the basics. And I don't want anyone to mess it up. Let's just line up and play. But you can't play the game that way. You kind of almost have to, put your cards down and just see if your offense can gravitate to you, because I think it'll serve them well if they do have some creativity.
I mean, because you're right. But then, yes, and you look at the scripted plays last year. Didn't they score a touchdown on their first drive in like the first 8 or 9 games or something?
That is
scripted
true.
Is there, and that was a complete antithesis. Cliffy Baby couldn't script, I don't know, a baby stroller. Like, he couldn't do it. It's like, okay,
And what's interesting? Sorry, go ahead.
No, go.
What's interesting about, like, opening drives, right, is like a lot of coaches scheme up their opening drives off of what they've watched on film, right? So, like, you can see how they're going to line up to different formations based off week to week. And a lot of times you have that success on the opening drive because you've calculated it to the extent that it's going to be right. The guys just got to make the play. After that, though, the game becomes like the game within the game. Once the defensive coordinator makes his adjustment, now it's up to the offensive coordinator to, like, diagnose that and start to come up with a plan within the game. And I think that's where some guys, you see the staleness in offense because they fail to adjust to, like, the game within the actual game.
Let's keep on with this conversation. We got some that kind of bridge the gap here. We've kind of talked about all the things the Cardinals need to do, Petzing and company. Is there a position group, offensively and or defensively, that you're worried about, that you think that could potentially derail the Cardinals season outside of the quarterback position? Let's talk about that next. Someone just gave me Waterboy, new nickname in the chat. And actually, that's not bad for spilling water all over myself.
That was childish. I ain't gonna lie. That was pretty childish.
Let's talk. Let's get to the Arizona Cardinals offensive, defensive woes. Is there a position group, Jamil, I'll start with you here,
Smart,
that you feel like could derail the Cardinals season this year?
Yeah.
Is there one that you're most worried about?
The one there's two positions. There's a quarterback position, but the one I'm most not concerned, I guess worried may be the right term, but it will be the offensive line.
that's what
Just from a standpoint of that is where it all starts. I know everyone likes to think that, you get these big name skill guys and that's, going to make you have a good team. It's the offensive line at the end of the day. And within that, you lose Will Hernandez, who was your veteran presence, your physical guy, your tone setter, kind of, the respect guy within the offensive line room. I'm just curious to see how that all plays out. I think, if the offensive line comes out and they mesh well together, you could have a good year. But I think, once guys start getting a little chink in their armor and Kyler starts feeling that pressure, then it creates a whole different dynamic. So I'm going to always go with the offensive line when we're talking about derail, because at the end of the day, everyone's going to blame the O-line regardless.
Yeah, and then it's the quarterback's, praise. You get the quarterback praise. You must have got a hell of an O-line gift after the 2020 season. We can talk about that off air.
Oh,
Come
man.
on. 2,000 yards?
Derrick Henry took care of us.
What are we doing here? It
took care of us. It was nice.
So, listen, I'm going to squirrel. You guys are just going to have to deal with it at this point. I agree. And I agree. I do think Will Hernandez needs to be an Arizona Cardinal. Start him on the PUP list. I don't care. He needs to be an Arizona Cardinal. He needs to be that dude in case Isaiah Adams isn't, or keep Isaiah Adams in waiting. I agree with you. And the offensive line is. I think they should have drafted an offensive lineman at $16 million. They got Walter Nolan. I'm good with what happened and, whatever it may be. For me, and this is something that I know Ben's going to go another way, so I'm going to take this one. If the DB room doesn't do their job, a bunch of young dudes in there, now there are expectations, okay? What happens with Will Johnson if he's hobbled? He had a hammy already? If he had a knee and he had a hammy, maybe the knee was kind of a thing, and that's why he dropped in the second round. We don't know. We don't know if Max Milton's going to take that next step. We think he will. We don't know. We don't know if Starlin Thomas was kind of a show-out guy last year because there was no real pressure on him to produce, or if he can actually be a substantiated version, of a CB3. We don't know what that young group is going to do this year. We do know what they did last year without a pass rush. You'd think that they're going to excel this year with the pass rush, but if they don't, and you can't bank on that defense, we're having completely different conversations at year end. But Nick Ross, I don't think that would happen. But that's the biggest one for me on defense. Even more in the pass rush. They were top 15 defense last year without a pass rush. So I would say the DB room. See, the cornerback specifically.
So the reason why I'm not super worried about the cornerback room is because I've seen the development under Jonathan Gannon with guys who I didn't really believe in, like Starling Thomas. And so now I'm like, oh my gosh, he's a capable cornerback. However, I'll agree with you, man. Like, there is some stuff there with the cornerback position in youth where I have this trauma from, what was the guy's name? The cornerback, third round pick. He was mentored under Patrick Peterson. He got torched in the Patriots game. Maybe I burned his name from my memory. Brandon Williams.
Yeah, Brandon.
The Texas running back who they converted into a corner. Yeah.
But they tried to convince us how great he is. That is not at all the same thing as Will Johnson. I think obviously a guy who proved it in college, who I think is going to be really good. But the youth there, other teams will just pick on that cornerback group, immediately start to try them and see, hey, can you handle the pressure? And that does worry me a little bit because of the youth. But I think if you start Will Johnson right away, you let him get out some of that rookie rust, maybe for the first half of the season. I totally expect the entire NFL world to call Will Johnson a bust after 8 games, because everyone forgets how hard the transition is from guarding wide receivers in college to guarding wide receivers in the NFL your rookie season. You go from guarding Panera Bread State to, hey, go guard Puka Nacua and Brandon Ayuk and Devontae Adams on a weekly basis, or Jackson Smith and Jigba, like any of those guys. And so that worries me. However, because of Jonathan Gannon, I'm just going to lean on it's probably okay. I'm sure you would probably say the same thing. The wide receiver position actually worries me more than people talk about it. I think we all, and rightfully so, assume Marv is going to take the next leap next year. that he's going to be awesome. He's going to be 1,400 yards, 110 catches, 10 touchdowns. I don't know, man. I don't know if it was Marv or misuse of him with Drew Petzing not letting him run legitimately anything outside of a fade route for half the game. If Marv isn't awesome next year, and when I say awesome, I mean 1,250 yards, 95 catches, 7 touchdowns. Like, I think that's a fair leap from year 1 to year 2. I seriously worry about what if this team's going to be more of a defensive-driven team than an offensive-driven team. Do you guys feel that there at all, or am I just psyching myself out for nothing?
No, I agree with you. I do think we need to see him take the step, especially given what we saw Malik Neighbors do. And I know Clancy said that he needs to do that again, but Malik Neighbors was definitely force-fed the ball the whole year with the Giants. I think Marvin Harrison Jr., if he takes that next step, then we really get to start seeing Trey McBride get into the end zone more. We get to start seeing the box get let up a little bit more and open some more running lanes for James Conner and, the rest of the backs. I think he has to take that next step in order for the offense to progress. And in order for Kyler Murray to even have if we're talking top 100 type of year, he's got to have a receiver that can go and get it and make it happen for him. So I would start out force feeding the guy. I'm not going to even lie. Like, you're going to catch the ball. We're going to get you the ball. At least you're going to have 10 targets per game because he's that type of body, and you have to build up the guy's confidence that we're going to throw you the ball.
Yeah. I mean, Trevor Sikkema was a dear friend of mine. Now, he was with Locked On for forever, and now he's obviously head honcho over Pro Football Focus. Like, he told me when I had him on around draft time that Marv was the highest rated player that he's ever rated coming out of college, irrespective of position. So when a dude like that, who's got the track record like that, says something like that, you listen. Last year, he had the worst good rookie season he could have had. We said that last week. That was the worst version of a good rookie season that he could have had. What we did see from him was in crunch time. We talked about this throughout the last year, whatever. His drag routes with Kyler Murray on 3rd and 4th down, got to have it or there. He trusted Kyler Murray, trusted him against San Francisco on that jump ball. The huge sweeping one to the front pylon against Miami, where Kyler threw a dot for a touchdown. He got 2 feet down. That was there. The back of the end zone against the Rams, that was there. That's not normal for rookies. Like, all rookies don't do that. All veteran wide receivers don't do that. So what we saw from Marv was the worst version of the good side of it. Okay, the 50-50, I don't know who put it in the comments. It was 70-30 balls. It was 30-70 balls last year.
Yeah.
The dude hasn't eaten a carb since the end of last season. Like, he looks like a completely different human being. He was embarrassed by his performance last year. I can guarantee you that. Like, that was fine, not for him. And I think this is demon season for him. But, as we talked about last segment, everything else needs to work for him to be able to be at his best. This isn't Jamar Chase. This isn't Justin Jefferson. They're better receivers. They just are for now. Like, you can't compare it. Well, you compare it as a run-first offense with a wide receiver 1 who's the second option in the pass game because Trey McBride's still that guy. If Marv takes that mantle, the Cardinals are winning 12-plus games. So if that happens, right? Because if you got 2 of them, who are you going to stop?
I'd agree. I'd agree, man. I think if Marv is that guy, I listen, all the things you're saying are nice, and I actually do think there's real substance behind them. But I can't get over, I know Christian Gonzalez is a really good cornerback. I know the Devon Witherspoon from the Seattle Seahawks is a really good quarterback.
He's terror.
But in both those games, man, touchdowns in your hands, and the and the cornerbacks are punching those balls out. I know you're saying he's not Justin Jefferson, he's not Jamar Chase, but dude, I'm going to keep on beating this drum. You draft a guy 4th overall. I'm kind of expecting that sort of production. Maybe that's my skewed logic on the 4th overall pick, but like, that's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking into conversations of like, and I don't buy into this mostly, but people can make arguments that Malik Neighbors and that Brian Thomas Jr., who were both drafted after him, were better. When you invest that much into the position, he just has to be better. And I agree with you. If he is that guy, no issues. I think this team wins 11 games. If he's not, I'm thinking 8-9, 9-8 again is on the table.
Yeah. Hey, listen, you're right. There's nothing else to be said about it. He's got to step up this year. And we got to see him be a dog. That's just, cut and clear about it. We got to see him make those plays.
Yeah, quickly before we pivot to the next segment, just really quick. Like we did with Jonathan Gannon on the hot seat, like I said that he has a better chance of winning Coach of the Year than being fired. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. has a better chance of being a Pro Bowl than regressing. Like it's what he's done his entire life. He had no quarterback at OSU the last year. Like, he's a touchdown machine. I think he could push 15 touchdowns next year. He's a touchdown dude. He's 6'3". He catches everything. Like, I think everybody needs to chill. Out of all the people, I think you need to chill on him until midway through next year.
It was a tale of 2 seasons with Marv, where I was at the Vikings game in Minnesota. I traveled with a buddy who's a Vikings fan, the whole thing. It was fun. And I was in the end zone where Kyler throws. God, dude, both guys are just like, both guys can show you flashes. Marv probably more than Kyler, where like they can just be one of the elite quarterback wide receiver tandems in the NFL. And then it kind of faded. But the one in the back of the end zone where he catches, I forgot who it was that was draped all over him. Like, it's that same representation of the touchdown that he had in the Rams game. And I'm like, I just need more of that consistently. Yeah. And so, like, I think he's going to go there, man. It worries me that maybe we're jumping the gun a little bit, but I agree with you. If that's the case, then they're going to win 12 games this year. I think if you have 2 guys of that elite nature, makes it easier on Kyler, makes it easier on the offense as a whole. All right. Subsequently, what position on the offensive side or the defensive side of the ball could skyrocket the Cardinals season next year? Let's talk about that next. Just a reminder, there's a decent amount of you guys in the chat. We appreciate you guys being here. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, potentially tell a friend about the Cardinals squad show as we continue trucking on, finishing up the show. I'll let you take it first, Clancy. What position could skyrocket this Cardinals team to a different tier this year than what they were last year?
I don't want to take Jamil's because I think he's going to say the same thing.
No, take it.
You're lucky you played online in the NFL for a better part of a decade.
Say it.
No. For me, I wouldn't say that because it's like I think the offensive line is going to be a BB minus, and I don't think that's bad. I think it's good enough.
You
don't have to have a Philly offensive line. For me, it's between 2. I think the pass rush is obvious. I think for me, it's the secondary. Like this is if you can get those 4 to 7 cats, okay, 5, 6 cats, like whatever Nick Rallis wants to throw on there, whether it's a 3 safety set with Dadrian Taylor-Demerson, Jalen Thompson, and Budda Baker all on the field, see if Katan Crawford gets in, 7th round pick out of Cincinnati. If Garrett Williams emerges, if Will Johnson's a dude right away, like if you get the Marshawn Lattimore rookie year from Will Johnson without the fall off, this is a top 5 defense. Like I talked about Will Johnson as being the Saquon Barkley of corners in this draft. He's a pick 6 waiting to happen. And if you have a guy like that, you have a guy like Max Melton, Garrett Williams, who really like to hit people. You got Budda Baker and Rabbit, who's probably going to supplant Jalen Thompson at some point. If this is a true bona fide no-fly zone part 2, this is a top 5 defense. This is a playoff team. And defenses travel. Run games travel. Doesn't matter where you're playing. Doesn't matter where it is. Inclement weather, whatever. That's the one that could take this team to the meteoric rise at the top ceiling that people think could happen.
That's a good point. I'm going to say – I was going to say the offensive line. I was going to say – but I'm going to pivot because I know Benjamin will like this one. I'm going to say Kyler, man. I think we got to see Kyler really step into the greatness that everyone kind of expects out of him being a first-round quarterback. I'm thinking about a time where, Joe Burrow didn't have the best offensive line in the league, but Joe Burrow was making it happen night in and night out. Obviously, we hated seeing him get sawed in half every game, but he made it happen. He was still throwing dimes, still throwing touchdowns, standing in there, taking hits. Kyler has a different ability to be a little more elusive than Joe Burrow. So I would love to see Kyler just step into his creativity, kind of, lean on his athleticism, make plays when the receivers are covered, make plays with your legs, just be creative in a sense that you've got this unique skill set that nobody else really has within the league, and you got to play into that. So I'm going to go ahead and say the play of Kyler Murray can really skyrocket this team to the next level.
The reason why I can't say the quarterback position, I think the defensive back position is a really good one because it could literally go either way. But the cornerback position, like, this is where, like, it's the hard, honest truth, man. It's year 7. Like, if I thought Kyler was going to put that together for a full sample size, I would agree. And I think we would have already seen it already. If we get that, like, if we get a Kyler Murray that is 2021, even 90% of 2021 Kyler Murray, where he was the MVP throughout the season until he pulled his hamstring.
Yeah.
I mean, this team is a bona fide Super Bowl contender.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. Geno Smith.
Is, like, in terms of, they're obviously two different quarterbacks, but in terms of if you got that kind of, yeah, man, because when you're talking about what Geno Smith is, with all the talent around the Cardinals, I don't think Geno is, oh God, dude, this is where people are going to turn off the show because they're going to think I'm being just ridiculous. But, like, I don't think Geno, in terms of his skill ability, obviously they do separate things, is that far away from Jalen Hurts. I don't think he's that far away from Brock Purdy. So if you have a team like that where Kyler does that similarly, this is what's so good about recently the couple of Super Bowl appearances and Super Bowl winners, that if you have that, then you can be a Super Bowl contender. That's a good thing. Kyler can do that. Will he? It's such a fluid conversation with him and Drew Petzing. I think because I have so much belief in the defensive back room because of Jonathan Gannon, that's where he started off, and he continuously pulls guys like Garrett Williams, who everyone else could have had him in the 3rd round, and they decided not to, and now he's awesome. Everyone could have had Starling Thomas, and now he's pretty good. Max Melton took a little bit of a jump in that second part of the season, so I expect Will Johnson to be good too. I think if the Cardinals have a consistent pass rush, again, you're talking about a potential conference championship team, not maybe a team that can win it, but if you can get to the opposing team's quarterback and make it incredibly frustrating on them, throw guys like Jared Goff off their spot a little bit. Jane Daniels a little bit more difficult, but there's only one Jane Daniels in the conference champ or in the NFC. If you could throw these statue quarterbacks off a little bit, Baker, Michael Penix Jr., Jared Goff, like, if you can do that, I think this team again could be talking about conference championship game appearance levels.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. Like, it's pretty much, they've upgraded everything. They are in the mix in a wide open NFC. The stat that I did for my show a couple days ago, and it wasn't a stat, it wasn't deep, like, it took me 5 minutes. There are only 2 quarterbacks that are active right now under the age of 37 who have won a Super Bowl outside of Aaron Rodgers and Matthew Stafford. And it's Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts. Ain't nobody else won jack. So when you look at Josh Allen and you look at Joe Burrow and you look at Brock Purdy, they've got close, okay? Yeah. Who's to say another team can't squeak through? They didn't do anything. Like, Joe Burrow has been incredible. You put Joe Burrow on Kansas City, they probably got a ring. Okay, so Joe Burrow's amazing. Joe Burrow's the Dan Marino of this day and age.
If Joe Burrow was in the NFC, he's probably got 3 Super Bowls by now.
Yeah, Joe Burrow's the truth. I take him over Josh Allen. I take him over Lamar. I wouldn't take him over Pat because it's Patrick Mahomes until it isn't for me. But with Kyler Murray, it's like, okay, when we talk about who has the highest ceilings at their best in the NFL, Kyler Murray's in the top 7 for me. At the absolute tippy top, higher than Trevor Lawrence, higher than all of these middle guys who don't have that ceiling. Kyler's got that ceiling. We've seen Jalen Hurts. We've seen Josh Allen. We've seen Jalen Daniels. We've seen Joe Burrow. We've seen Patrick Mahomes. Kyler Murray's 100% in the top 10 of ceiling potential. So all it takes is a run in one season to get there.
That is a wild comment.
What do you say? Get off his back. He's doing what's asked to do, but it is limited in the system. Ah, Terry, you're sweet. Like
I don't think anyone's on his back here though. I think but this is all supported. This is all supported.
Wait a second. Stop right there. Timeout for all 3 of you. I'm on his back. What the hell?
Besides Ben's on his back.
It's 7 years I want to win games. I agree with, so I can show Clancy I was listening to what he was saying. Mm-hmm. I agree. Kyler Murray at his tippy top, Tennessee Titans in 2021, Oakland, Las Vegas Raiders in 2022 game. There is not many quarterbacks that can do what Kyler Murray can do. Want to be that elusive and then throw the ball on a dime in the back of the end zone to AJ Green to get the 2-point conversion to send the game into overtime. The issue is, can you effing do that more consistently? Because no one, I don't think anyone here isn't saying Kyler isn't supremely talented. It's just like, okay, so do it. So like it kind of again, it goes back to Jamil's point of like, figure it out. And that's where I'm at. So like, just so we're clear, yes, Kyler has me blocked on all social media platforms. So maybe he doesn't like what I have to say. And I couldn't care less. I'm interested in winning games. So like, just so we're clear, I am on his back, and there's a ton of pressure this year. Anyone else?
I'm going to block you on all my social media platforms.
No, you're not allowed to.
Just mute him so he doesn't see it. It's the simplest trick in the book.
No, man,
I wonder if he
listen.
can drink water with one hand. I wonder if Kyler can drink water with one hand. Maybe you're jealous. Who knows? Water boy. Who knows?
You need a water, dude. Hey, your shirt is dry though.
My shirt is finally dry, dude.
I don't know what type of technology that shirt has, but it's crazy.
Listen, with Kyler, and like that's why I struggle with letting it go, because we've seen things that even good quarterbacks can't reach. And it's like, okay, yes, you want to see more of that. So would you take the valleys with those tippy top peaks, or do you want mundane and this is not a knock on Ryan Tannehill at all, because 2019 to 2020, great football, especially for a former wide receiver. And you saw it firsthand, okay? That peak, Kyler's got that. We've seen more than that, even though not in the playoffs like Tannehill did. He's got balls of steel. The dude was just ready. Going into Baltimore and winning that game was all I had to see.
Yeah.
With Kyler, though, in the rate, I've seen too much to let go. Now, I'll tell you what, Ben. If they make a playoff push this year and he's the reason and he's top 3 in MVP voting, the Cardinals aren't going to have another quarterback for the next 10 years not named Kyler Murray. This is the linchpin for everything. This is it. This is the road not traveled, or this is the road exactly traveled and you move off from Kyler Murray. If he does what everybody thinks he could do with this and they make a conference championship game, you could see an extension next offseason. It's going to be very real, very fast. So is this small sample size enough? Say they do make a conference championship game. Is that enough to extend them?
Damn.
Is that enough to be like, this is your dude for the next 5 years for sure?
Hey.
That's a good question. It's a really good question.
I think
because I think you're talking about this year. Everyone talks about if Kyler Murray holds out, good luck. He's not getting another contract. It's yeah. And then what? He doesn't show up to training camp and your team's a debacle for the first 6 weeks. Yeah. The dude has leverage. I think that's a good question, or something that we could tease to talk about maybe on the next show of how far do the Cardinals need to go this year, that being Kyler or not, that you would extend him, that you'd buy him that big, beautiful 10-year anniversary ring that you're supposed to do, right? You're supposed to upgrade the ring every 10 years. So I don't know if Jamil did that, or maybe he doesn't know about that. But
hasn't been 10 yet.
Am I the longest?
I ain't that old.
Am I the longest tenured married man on here? Jamil's got 7 years on me.
Yeah.
All right.
You're a loser. I'm just kidding, bro.
We did it.
I'm just kidding.
All right.
Congratulations, man.
No, forget you, man. Forget you. The show is growing. There's a lot more people in the chat. People are liking what we're doing. And what do? You pick me up just to drop me down. Hey. So with that being said, we will end the show there, guys. For those of you that don't know, we are here Tuesday and Thursdays, right around the 3 or 4 o'clock mark. We will put that up earlier in those days so that you will see what exactly that time frame will be. Do us a favor. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to the show. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen. Now for your second listen, go check out the Locked On NFL Scouting Show. As training camps get closer and moves are being made, host Kyle Krabs and Joe Marino will make you the most informed NFL fan this offseason. Find Locked On NFL Scouting on YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. And for Jamil, Clancy, everyone in the chat, myself, Benjamin Garcia, we will talk to you guys next Tuesday.